Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara on behalf of all of us, today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Pariyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya Harihi Om. Last time we had stopped at the shloka number 469. That ultimately Acharya Shankar Bhagavad Pada is explaining about that Parabrahma Tattva itself, the nature of it, of course, which cannot be explained. It is Mano Vacha Magocharam, as he calls himself. It is beyond the mind, beyond the intellect, beyond the buddhi, and beyond the communication skills or beyond the speech. This can be explained. So that Parabrahma Vastu, that godly principle in our common language, that supreme awareness or consciousness, cosmic force, what we denote as Ishvara, Paramatma, cannot be reached, cannot be understood by words, it cannot be explained through words. So Acharya himself says, as earlier he said, it is Mano Vachama Gochara. And he says, it is Sat Samruddham, Swatas Siddham, Shuddham, Buddham, Anidrusham, Ekamevadvayam Brahma, Nehananasti Kinchana. So he ends with again the famous Shruti Vachana of Brudaranyaka Upanishad, Nehananasti Kinchana. So that Parabrahma Vastu, that Nirakara, Nirvishesha, Nirguna Brahma, as it is called, faceless, nameless, actionless. It is beyond everything, beyond imagination, beyond your logical thinking. So that is Ekameva Advitiyam. There is no second. Ekameva Advitiyam. And Acharya calls that Ekameva Advitiyam, Vedantic phrase he uses here as Ekameva Advayam Brahma. Nehananasti Kinchana. So there is no duality here in this Paravastu. All that is manifested has come from that Paramatma only, Paratattva only, Paravara only, nothing else. And it goes back, becomes again Avyakruta at the end of Mahapralaya, Atyantika Pralaya. What has been manifested will go back, involute back itself. It will once again becomes Avyakruta. So now, after this, Parabrahma Tattvada Mele, Acharyaru, Matnadka, Brodharanyaka Upanishadina, Mahavachanavanna, Sari, Matte, Tamma Shloka the Kone, Charana the Kone, Bhagavad Helta Bantu, Nehananasti Kinchan, Naiha, E Paratatvadali, E Parabrahma Tattvadali, Paramatmanali and Artha. Nana Asti Kinchana. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಳ್ಳಷ್ಟು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪವೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಭಾವ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಗತ ಭೇದವಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಜಾತೀಯ ಭೇದವಿಲ್ಲ, ವಿಜಾತೀಯ ಭೇದವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯ ಭೇದವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇರುವುದು ಒಂದೇ ವಸ್ತು, ಅದೇ ಸತ್ಯ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಶ್ರುತಿ ವಚನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾವಾಕ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗಂತೆ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ there is a great one of the famous Mahavakyas, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. The word Anantam itself denotes it is infinitely, which cannot be reached by your logical thinking, by your personal effort, by your mind, by your buddhi shakti or dhi shakti. Brahma, Parabrahma Vastu cannot be reached. It is so infinite. Anoraniya, Mahato Mahiya, another Shruti Vachana says. It is smaller than the smallest. Smaller than the smallest. The superlative degree. Whatever is the smallest we consider, even you go to the positron level, within the protons, even then the quarks are there according to quantum physics, still smaller particles. Boson particles are there, still smaller. So whatever superlative degree we add here, whichever is the smallest you consider, Parabrahma Vastu is smaller than the smallest. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiya. See, these are all Shruti Vachanas which indicate, they are all pointers, indicators to that realm into which our mind cannot dwell. That is the dimension in which the buddhi cannot enter. That is something altogether different, because there is another saying in English, the seeker himself is a sought. What we are trying to find ultimately is ourselves, our true self, our own Pratyagat. Once by the grace of Sadguru and Upadesha of Shruti Vachanas, and finally by the grace of Pratyagatma or self or God himself, realization occurs. This reality dawns in as we call. Always we have to remember, when realization occurs, these words indicate that already we are what we are, only thing we don't know. We don't know what really we are. It is only trying to dwell deeper and deeper and deeper, removing all the husky layers, unwanted layers of our ego factors, mental attitudes, thinking, logical thinking, our superior brain power, reasoning power, intelligent power. We have to discard all these things. Ultimately, the ego itself, the mind itself. Then only, by the grace of Atma, by the grace of self, by the grace of Guru, or by the grace of God, Pratyagatma inside will shine itself, it will reveal itself when it is pleased. So to go to that level, initially sadhana is required. Spiritual practices are definitely required under the guidance of a Brahmajnani, Sadguru, or a realized Mahan Purusha or Santa Purusha. So all these Acharya explained to his Shishya, disciple. Now the next set of shlokas, now he's coming to a sort of summarizing. It's called Upasamhara. Summarizing the whole philosophy of Advaita. It's called Vedanta Upasamhara in the next set of shlokas. So we are starting today with that shloka number 470. Nirasta raga vinirasta bhoga shanta sudanta yatayo mahantaha vijñāya tattvam parametadante praptaha param nivrittimatma yogat. Nirasta raga vinirasta bhoga shanta sudanta yatayo mahantaha vijñāya tattvam parametadante praptaha param nivrittim atma yoga. keywords here. Param prapta nivrutim. Atma yogat param nivrutim prapta. Ante prapta. These are the keywords in the shloka here. Nivrutim actually here means the final, beatific, total, absolute peace. The total peace. Ananda. ಸೊ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು, ವೇದಾಂತದ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಕಾಮನೆಗಳನ್ನ, ವಿಷಯ ಇಚ್ಛೆಗಳನ್ನ, ಬಯಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ, ಭೋಗಗಳನ್ನ ತ್ಯಜಿಸಿ, ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖಗಳ ಗಮನ ಕೊಡದೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಗ್ರಹದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು, ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ, ಬುದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಹಿಡಿತದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಶಾಂತರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮಹನೀಯರಾದಂತಹ ಆ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಪುರುಷರು, ಯತಿಗಳು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಈ ಪರತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಅರಿತುಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಅನುಭವ ವೇದ್ಯವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವವನ್ನ, ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಅರಿತುಕೊಂಡು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಪನ್ನರಾಗಿ ಪರಮ ಶಾಂತಿಯನ್ನೇ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಅರ್ಥ. So what Acharya now tells the disciple here is nirasta raga vinirasta bhoga shantaha sudanta yatayo mahanta. The first two charanas lines. The great yatis, the great sages, the great mahatmans, the noble souls, the exalted souls who have reached the highest point in their spiritual sadhana and who have discarded all their attachments and desires. Nirastaraga, they have discarded, they have given up all their attachments, raga, attachments, desires, feeling of possessions, becoming possessive, all these things they have given up. Vinirasta bhoga, and they have given up looking for, going after worldly pleasures. They have given up even that also. They are least concerned with the worldly pleasures. So, shanta sudanta yatayo mahanta. Sudanta means they have controlled their senses, totally restraining themselves. Sudanta means perfectly restraining themselves, giving up all pleasures, giving up all attachments, that is raga, and they are at peace, realizing the truth at the end, and they attain supreme bliss. Ultimately, after realizing the truth, Atma Tattva, Brahma Tattva, after realizing the Tattva Jnana, they remain in eternal mode of peace. This is a point Acharya is hammering up. Vijnaya Tattvam Parametad Ante Praptaha Param Nivrittim Atma Yoga. So Acharya, earlier, long back in the Viveka Chudamani, in the beginning only, the landmark shloka which our Gurudev was very fond of, he used to always, short phrases of Bhagavad Gita, he used to utter. Like that, short phrases of Viveka Chudamani also he used to tell here and there. And he hammered that important landmark shloka in this Viveka Chudamani. That earlier, it was, in the beginning only it was covered. The first two lines. Shanta mahantaha nivasanti santaha vasantavat loka hite charantaha. Shanta mahantaha nivasanti santaha vasantavat loka hite charantaha. Such beautiful rhyming and deep inner meaning, profound Advaitic meaning. Mahantaha, the great sages, the great spiritual Siddha Purushas, the great Jnanis, the Brahmajnanis, in other words, Shantaha Mahantaha Nivasanti Santaha Lokavat Vasantavat Loka Hite Charantaha. Just like in the spring season, when the entire nature starts blossoming, wherever you go in the spring season, you find only the lush greenery around you in the forest, on the trees, on the shrubs. All the new sproutings are there. Green leaves have sprouted. They are ready to blossom fully, ready to flower. So it's such a beautiful sight, the countryside in the spring season. It is so pleasurable. It is so soothing. It is so beautiful. The mind is sort of, becomes calm and soother and soother. Such a soothing eyesight when you look at the countryside, when you look outside the cities. Within the big cities, it may not be possible. So Vasanta Rutu, the onset of spring season, brings in such profound changes in the nature around us. The whole forest, the countryside, the greenery looks so greener, fresh. New leaves have come. So they give such wonderful feeling. In the same way, Santaha, Mahantaha, Santa Purusha, Mahanta, great sages, realized ones, Vasantavat Lokahite Charantaha. Just like the spring season brings in a sort of a mental tranquility, these people, they move in the world, this world, illusory world of Maya, for the sake of Jagat Kalyana, for the sake of Loka Kalyana. They don't expect anything for them because already they have become Pratikrutyas, they have reached the shore, and without an iota of any selfish motto, they move around the world to uplift, to help the other people to rise in their spiritual levels. They show the way towards God. So already Acharya has used these words. Same thing now he is using here. Nirasta raga vinirasta bhogaha shanta sudanta yatayo mahantaha Vijnaya tattvam parame tadante praptaha param nivrittim atma yogat. So that they realize the truth at the end and attain supreme bliss. Who? Such exalted souls who have given up all the attachments. They are no more influenced by the raga and the dvesha, opposites. No more they are influenced by the worldly attachments. They have given up the mind concept, and also they have given up seeking for pleasures, worldly pleasures. So the ones who have given up raga and bhoga, bhoga means worldly pleasures, they are not bothered. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever comes in the way comes, and they are least influenced, whether they possess a particular thing or not, whether certain luxuries enter their life or not. For everything, they are least bothered. That is what Acharya calls Vinirasta Bhoga. Shanta, Sudanta, Yatayo, Mahanta. So he calls them as Yati, Mahanta, the great exalted ones. Such Brahmajnanis who have realized themselves, Acharya calls them as Shanta, Sudanta, Mahanta. They have restrained total self-control, and they are at peace all the time. Next, Acharya tells this Uttamadhikari, his Shishya, disciple, next sloka. Bhavanapidam paratatvamatmanah swarupamanandaghanam vicharya vidhoyamohyam swamanah prakalpitam mukta krutartho bhavatu prabuddhaha. Now he is telling Acharya with all with all smile, with a total serenity, in all seriousness, with a total compassion, with a total mercy, looking at the Shishya sitting in front of him. Now, Acharya tells him, look, my dear disciple, so far I told out everything about the reality, the real purpose of the life. I have told you what is bandhana, what is bondage, how the bondage can be removed, how the ego works, what are the pancha pranas, what are the five koshas, what is the effect of maya, what is this duality, how the maya affects, what is this world, jagat, which is anirvachaniya. It looks relatively real, but ultimately it is not real from the highest parimarthic level. Then what is the jnana? What is a dawn of jnana? What is reality? What is that Atma Tattva? Then he goes on giving out all the summary of the all Upanishads throughout Viveka Chudamani, and then conveys the meaning that ultimately Brahma Padartha, Parabrahma Swarupa, Parabrahma Padartha is the only one, Ekam Eva Advitiya. And you are that one. You are that Atma Swarupa. You are no more the body, you are no more the mind, you are no more this Sharira itself. Sharira itself is Jada. And whatever happens from the birth to death, the body, physical body with the mind has to undergo because of the prarabdha. So all these things he explained. And what is Jivan Mukti, what is realization, what is the effect of realization, importance of realization, everything after doling out all these things now. ವಿಶದವಾಗಿ ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿಯ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ತಮ್ಮ ಉತ್ತಮ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟು ಜೀವನದ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿ, ಬಂಧನ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಮುಕ್ತತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಆತ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರುತಿ ವಚನಗಳನ್ನು ಉತ್ತರಿಸಿ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಸ್ತಾರವಾದ ವರ್ಣನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದು ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ, ಭವಾನಪೀದಂ ಪರತತ್ವಮಾತ್ಮನಃ ಸ್ವರೂಪಮಾನಂದ ಘನಂ ವಿಚಾರ್ಯ ವಿಧೂಯ ಮೋಹಂ ಸ್ವಮನಃ ಪ್ರಕಲ್ಪಿತಂ ಮುಕ್ತ ಕೃತಾರ್ಥೋ ಭವತು ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧಃ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಈ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಉಪಸಂಹಾರ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯಲ್ಪಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಏನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕೋ ತಿಳಿಸಾಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನಿನಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನಲ್ವಾ, ನೀನು ಕೂಡ ಈಗ ಈ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪವಾಗಿರುವ ಆನಂದ ಘನವಾಗಿರುವ ಸತ್ಯ, ನಿತ್ಯ, ಶುದ್ಧ, ಬುದ್ಧ, ಮುಕ್ತ ಸ್ವರೂಪವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ತತ್ವವನ್ನ, ಈ ಆತ್ಮ ತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ವಿವೇಕದಿಂದ ವಿವೇಚಿಸಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕಲ್ಪಿತವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಮೋಹವನ್ನ, ಮೋಹ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಗ, ಮೋಹ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಗ, ನನ್ನವರು, ನನ್ನದು ಅನ್ನುವ ಭಾವ, ಈ ಮೋಹವನ್ನ ಬಿಸಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀನು ಸಹ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯು, ಮುಕ್ತನು ಆಗು, ಕೃತಾರ್ಥನಾಗು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿ ಕೃತಾರ್ಥನಾಗು. ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದೇನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡುವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಾಯ್ತು. ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಜೀವನದ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಗುರಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಸಂಪಾದಿಸ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. Look, my dear disciple, this beautiful shloka, direct upadesha to the shishya. Here Acharya says, look, my dear disciple, you too realize this supreme truth, this supreme Atma, this supreme Paratattva of the nature of your own Pratyagatma, your own self. Discard all the delusion which is the product of the imagination of your mind. Come out of the delusion, moha, which is nothing but your product of the imagination of the mind is playing because of the effect of Maya. So come out of the delusion, moha, attachment, me and mine concept. Attachment here mainly refers to mine. See, these things are mine. I possess these things. These people are mine. Others are not mine. So that is called moha. So you come out of your own product imagination of the mind because of delusion, and you wake up, become free, realize your true nature, realize your true identity, realize that you are the real Atma Swarupa. You are the Pratyagatma itself. Realize that. Fulfill your prime purpose in life, your prime goal in life, not actually goal, the word in English to be used here. It is the ultimate natural state, what we are, that we have to understand. Ultimate. We have to connect to the source, as it's called. So it is a prime purpose of life. So realize that and become kritakritya and stay always blissfully, highly blessed. You become a Brahmajnani. So remain in that state, beatification, sada atmanishto bhava, brahmanishto bhava. That is the injunction Acharya is giving. Next, Acharya continues. Samadhina sadhu vinishchalatma pashyattatma tattvam sputabodha chakshusha nissamshayam samyak vekshitaschet shutah padartho na punarvikalpate kalpyate. Samadhina sadhu vinishchalatma pasya atma tattvam sputabodha chakshusha nissamshayam samruk avekshitaschet shutah padartho na punarvikalpyate. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನಿಶ್ಚಲವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ, ಸದೃಢವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದ ಸಮಾಧಿಯಿಂದ ಸ್ಫುಟವಾದ ಜ್ಞಾನದೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಿನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕರಿಸು. ನಿಶ್ಚಲವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿ ಆಳವಾದ ಧ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರಗೊಳಿಸು. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ. ಇವುಗಳ ಅರ್ಥವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನಃ ನಿನಗೆ ಸಂಶಯ ಉಂಟಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಜ್ಞಾನದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂಶಯಗಳು ತಾನಾಗಿ ಹೊರಟು ಹೋಗುತ್ತದೆ. So Acharya says here, with total determination, my dear disciple, when the mind is stilled during deep meditation, and through that samadhi state, when the mind is stilled in deep meditation, you enter into the samadhi state, perfectly perceive the truth, perceive the real jnana, perceive the truth, become experience. You directly get the experience by first hand, by yourself, by the clear eye of understanding, that is jnana drishti. With the clear eye of understanding means by the jnana drishti, perceive the truth yourself in the samadhi state. So when you perceive the reality during the deep meditation, when you see it correctly, experience correctly firsthand, then beyond any doubt, all the doubts will be carried off. You will understand Shruti Vachanas, purport of Upanishads very clearly, and whatever doubts lingering so far, everything will vanish. Establish yourself in the Samadhi state and enter into the direct perception of your own reality. Then you will understand the real reality. Doubts will vanish. Swasya vidya bandha sambandha mokshat satya jnanananda rupatma labdhau shastram yukti deshikokti pramanam anta siddha swanubhuti pramanam. Next shloka. Now here, before we go into the purport of the shloka, what is to be remembered here is Acharya is giving direct final hints of the Upadesha to his esteemed Uttamadikari, the disciple who is well versed in sadhana chatushtaya, who is following the dictates of the Guru very clear-cutly, earnest, who has surrendered himself with all total shraddha and faith and devotion to the Guru, who has considered the Guru himself as nothing but God. God himself has appeared in the form of Sadguru. So, with such a state of mental preparedness, Acharya, why he is hinting all these things, then easily you will discover the reality, your own reality. You will realize your own reality, which is already there, self-shining. So these are the hints for us. These shlokas are hints for ajnanis like us. But Acharya is indirectly hinting to us, unless I have full faith, unless I have shraddha, unless I have total devotion to God and my Guru, and I consider that my Sadguru is himself embodiment of God. God is no way different from Sadguru, Sadguru no way different from God. So when I consider like that, Sadguru himself is nothing but God, and whatever teachings are there from him, which I have received, it is for my own benefit. If I realize myself the real purpose of life, if I become enlightened, there is no more rebirth. I have come out of the bondage. The total bondage is cut. The Maya is cut automatically. No more rebirths. And not only that, I will come out of this shoka and moha, this suffering, mental suffering, as long as the body persists due to prarabdha in this life. So these things are very important for us. So these shlokas are meant for Uttamadikari, the highly qualified disciple. Again and again, we have to remember that doesn't mean that Acharya is discarding ajnanis like us. He is hinting that even anybody in this birth can go to that highest level of Uttama Adhikari, level of Uttama Jijnasu. Anybody can become the highest spiritual aspirant by simply surrendering with all the might, with all the mind at the feet of the Lord, at the feet of the God, Ishvara, and Sadguru. And we have to consider that Sadguru himself is Ishvara, Ishvara himself is Sadguru. So when that point sets in our mind, then what happens? Whatever the Guru has said, we follow earnestly, practice earnestly our sadhana. And ultimately, all the initial efforts are there from our side. And finally, somewhere without our knowledge, without you and me knowing ourselves, the Sadguru will take care of our future steps in the mode of spiritual sadhana. Initial efforts are very much important. We have to determine ourselves. Yes, it has to be done. But later, as we progress by surrendering ourselves, following simply blindly what Guru has said, then what happens? He himself will take care of our own mind, our own sadhana. He will see to it that the sadhana will culminate ultimately. That happens only when I have 100% faith, not 99.9%. Not 99.9% surrender, not 99.9% faith, not 99.9% Shraddha, not 99.9% belief. It should be 100%. This is the experience of all highly elevated, exalted, noble souls who have followed injunctions of their Guru and they have become Mahatmas themselves. They in turn, they have become Guru to the mankind. That is how the Guru Parampara continues. A Sadguru who is enlightened will kindle that flame of enlightenment within the mind of his disciple. And by the grace of Sadguru or God, disciple again becomes enlightened. And then he becomes the Guru. So that is how the Guru Parampara will continue. So these things we have to remember. So Acharya says here, Swasya Vidya Bandha Sambandha Mokshat Satya Jnanananda Ropatma Labdhau Shastram Yukti Deshikokti Pramanam Cha Anta Siddhaha Swanubhoti Pramanam. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ನಿನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಉಂಟಾಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾದ ಆತ್ಮನ ನೇರ ಅನುಭವ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಉಂಟಾಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ. ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರವೇ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು, ಆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಅವೇ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಮತ್ತು ನಿನ್ನ ವಿವೇಚನೆಯಿಂದ, ವಿವೇಕದಿಂದ, ನಿನ್ನ ಮನನದಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಯುಕ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉಕ್ತಿ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉಪದೇಶ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಇವೇ ಪ್ರಮಾಣಗಳು. ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಉಂಟಾಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಗಳ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು, ನೀನು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆತ್ಮಾನುಸಂಧಾನ, ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಮನನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಉಕ್ತಿ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕಾರಣ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಉಂಟಾಗತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನೇರವಾದ ಅನುಭವ ಕಟ್ಟ ಕಡೆಯ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಪುರಾವೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಗಳ ವಚನಗಳು, ವಿವೇಚನೆಯಿಂದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಮನನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಉಕ್ತಿಗಳು, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಉಪದೇಶ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪಡೆಯತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನೇರವಾದ ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷ ಅನುಭೂತಿ, ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷ ಅನುಭವ, ನೇರವಾದ ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದ ಅನುಭವ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪ್ರಮಾಣಗಳೇ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಟೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಹಿಯರ್, ಸ್ವ ಅಸ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಬಂಧ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಮೋಕ್ಷಾತ್ Satyajnanananda Rupatmalabdhau Shastram Yukti Deshikokti Pramanam Cha Antasiddha Swanabhuti Pramanam. So what Acharya calls here, see the proofs in order to obtain Satya Jnanananda Rupatma Labdhau. In order to obtain that Atma Sakshatkara, in order to obtain that Brahma Sakshatkara, to realize our own true nature, reality, by cutting the ignorance, primordial ignorance, the bondage. So, asya avidya bandha sambandha moksha. What is required? Acharya says, Shastram yuktihi, deshiko yuktihi, pramanam, cha anta siddha swanubhutihi pramanam. So, the proofs here in this process of realization are Swayam, the Mahavachanas of Upanishads. Shruti means Upanishads. The Mahavakyas, Mahavachanas, they themselves are the proof. Swayam Pramana. So they are the proof, number one. The Vachanas, Upadesha of the Sadguru, they are the Pramana, number two. And finally, your own experience, Aparoksha Anubhuti, your own direct experience, finally, that is Pramana number three, proof number three. So, these are the things we have to remember, Acharya says. During how Atma Jnana occurs in what happens. Now, why Acharya is taking this point here? Shastra Yukti Deshika. Deshika means Sadguru, our own Guru, our own preceptor. Deshika. Deshika Ukti Pramanam, Shastra Yukti Pramanam, Antasiddha Swanubhuti Pramanam. Shastra Yukti Deshiko Ukti. Deshiko Ukti. So these three things. And finally, Antasiddha Swanubhuti. They're all Pramanas, he says. The reason is, repeatedly in the entire Vivek Chudamani, Acharya has used all the Mahavakyas, the summary of all the important Upanishads in all these shlokas. We remember, to realize, to enter into the mode of sadhana in the spiritual line, we have to believe, we have to have full faith in Pramanas. Upanishads themselves are the first Pramana. The Mahavakyas teach us, the four Mahavakyas are there. We have to believe in that. There are hundreds of Mahavachanas and Vakyas in Upanishads. Among that, four are considered to be the Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi, you are that only. Ayamatma Brahma, this Atma inside is nothing but Parabrahma Vastu, Paramatma himself. This Atma inside is nothing but Paramatma. Ayamatma Brahma, this Atma inside is nothing but Parabrahma. Aham Brahmasmi, another Mahavakya. So the self-experience dawns in finally that I means here not the body, I means here not the mind, I means I am that Atma Swarupa, and that Atma itself is Parabrahma Swarupa. Aham Brahmasmi. That is a direct experience. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Like that, there are so many Mahavakyas. So they all become Pramanas or proofs, first-hand proof, that we have to believe in that. Upanishads are the final proof. They themselves are Pramanas. There is nothing else to prove Upanishads. They are Apaurushaya. So they are indicators. They are Satyavachanas. Next, this is a Shruti Pramana, then Ukti. Ukti means by deep contemplation, after listening to Sadguru, Shravana, Manana, contemplation, reasoning, reflection. We have to constantly reflect Guru Vachanas, Guru Upadeshas, whatever Guru says. We have to reflect upon, constantly think upon, always try to relate it, try to understand it. So, this is Ukti. Ukti is Vedantic word. One example for Ukti is, so by constant manana, what I have to understand, what I will understand, that yes, there is bondage. I have considered myself as a body. See, my ego is there, ahankara is there, and I have a status and a name and a qualification. I know that I am a male or a female. So I am identifying myself with the body itself. I means here, I know that I am the mind-body complex. I am this so and so. This is due to Maya. This is called bondage. So I am bound by my own pairs of opposites. I am bound by my own raga and dvesha. Me and mine complex. Ahankara and mamakara. Because of that, I am bound in the samsara. Samsara is nothing but shoka plus moha. Samsara means suffering and attachment. Suffering is there because of attachment. Suffering is there because of moha. Suffering is there because of my desires. Moha also includes attachment and kama, desires. Attachment and desires. So samsara means shoka plus moha. So because of that, I am totally bound into this world, into this material life. Now I am born, I will die. Once again I am reborn. So my birth and death will continue for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rebirths. So there is no end. This is called bondage. In every new life, I will have a new set of people calling themselves as mine. I will have a new set of parents. I will have a new set of family members, new set of friends and foes, new set of children. And the drama will continue. I will never remember what was my previous life associations. I will never remember what was my previous birth relations. So the new relations will continue. The next birth, after that, in the next subsequent birth, again, fresh new relations will continue. Again, I am bound by this Maya, me and mine, raga and moha concept. So I am bound in this samsara. I am totally bound. Only by realizing my true identity, who really I am I this ego? Am I this mind? Am I this name, this body? Am I really this body called by a name? So I have to go deep into that. So I have to enlighten myself. I have to realize my true identity. That is Brahmajnana. So once a jnana dawns in, bondage will go away. The Maya will go away. Suffering will go away. The shoka, grief will go away. Moha, delusion will go away. Everything will go away. And there is no more river. And while still living, I become realized with a perfect life. I can move in the world without any sorrow, without any shoka, without any attachment. Mind is still and calm. There is no delusion, no worries at all. Nothing of the sort which can distract the mind. The mind will be purified. Vasanas will come down. Ultimately, I become a witness to what is happening in the life itself, process of life. Take everything lightly, correctly, in the right sense, and be a witness. And you become a big artist who is playing a role in the drama. Elsewhere, Acharya has given this example. Elsewhere. The person who is donning the role of Ravana in the drama. So effectively he performs his act. So beautifully he performs. Spectators are spellbound by his actions. He appears like a real demon on the stage with all the tamasic qualities, abusing Sita Mata, abusing Rama, not heeding to the advice of anybody. And ultimately, he doesn't want to give up Sita Mata, who he has kidnapped, knowingly well that she is a married woman. He doesn't care. He shows all the tamasic qualities on the stage, and ultimately, he is killed by Rama himself. While enacting the role of Ravana, that person all the time remembers inside his true identity. He all the time, while acting on the stage, donning the role of Ravana, even for a fraction of a second, he never considers himself as Ravana, the demonic king. Never. But he knows that he is acting. He pretty well, he is aware every time that he is donning a role. There is an audience in front. He has to please the audience. He must do justice to his role. So ferociously he acts like a demon king himself. But once drama is over, the makeup is removed, he becomes a normal person, laughing person. And when people come and praise him, what a wonderful acting you did of Ravana on the stage, he humbly laughs and says, accepts their compliments. Like that. So, realizing your true identity doesn't mean that you vanish from the world the moment jnana dawns. You still live in the world because the prarabdha is there, as Acharya last time said. The physical body has to live for some time, till the allotted time. So the activities are going on, but you remain totally calm and composed. The shoka and moha will vanish. Tensions will vanish from the body, mind. Your stresses vanish from the mind. You totally, how it can be explained, God only knows. I don't know. This much I can say. You had to pardon. So that is what Acharya is calling here. Acharya is calling here. By the help of the Shruti, they themselves are the Pramanas, and by the strength of your reasoning, by the Guru Vachana, and finally, by your own direct experience of realization. The flash of Atmajnana, when it happens, when Jnana dawns in, by the grace of Guru or God, they themselves are Pramanas, because you experience directly yourself what really you are. So that's what Acharya is talking here. Next. Bandho mokshasya truptischa chintarogyakshudadayah svenaiva vedya yajnanam paresham anumanikam. Bandho mokshasya truptischa chinta arogyakshudadayah svenaiva vedya yajnanam paresham anumanikam. Two-line shloka. Acharya continues here. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಬಂಧ ಮೋಕ್ಷಶ್ಚ ತೃಪ್ತಿಶ್ಚ ಚಿಂತ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕ್ಷುದಾದಯಃ ಕ್ಷುದ ಆದಿ ಅಯಃ. ಬಂಧನ, ಮೋಕ್ಷ, ತೃಪ್ತಿ, ಚಿಂತೆ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ, ಕ್ಷುದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಸಿವು, ಇವೇ ಮೊದಲಾದವುಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾನವ ಸ್ವತಃ ತನ್ನ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ತನ್ನ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಸ್ವತಃ ತಾನೇ ಅರಿಯುತ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಂಧ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ತೃಪ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಚಿಂತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಶುದ್ಧ ಆದಯ, ಹಸಿವು ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಬಾಯಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸ್ವೇನೈವ ವೇದ್ಯ, ಸ್ವತಃ ತನಗೆ ತಾನೇ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ, ಪ್ರತಿ ಮಾನವನಿಗೆ. ಯಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಪರೇಶಾಂ ಅನುಮಾನಿಕಂ, ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಅದು ಅನುಮಾನದಿಂದ ತಿಳಿಯುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಅನುಮಾನದಿಂದ, ಇನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್, ಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಸಿವಾಗಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಾಯಾರಿಕೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ತೃಪ್ತಿಯಾಗಿದೆಯಾ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಚಿಂತೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಿಂತೆ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು. ನೋಡೋವರಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚಿಂತೆ ಕಾಣದೇ ಇದ್ರು ಏನೋ ಚಿಂತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅನುಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಮಾಣವಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೊರತು ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಅನುಮಾನಿಸಬಹುದು. ಆದರೆ ಸ್ವಯಂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನುಭವ ನಿಮ್ದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಹಸುವಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನುಭವ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವ. ಹಾಗೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸ್ವಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಬರತಕ್ಕಂತ ಅನುಭವಗಳು. ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಂದ್ರು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಪನ್ನತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಹ ಸ್ವಂತ ಅನುಭವ, ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷ ಅನುಭವ, ಸ್ವಂತ ನೇರ ಅನುಭವ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ವಿಷಯ ವಸ್ತು ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಪನ್ನರಾದರೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಯುವಂತಹ, ಅರಿಯುವಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೇರ ಅನುಭವ. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಚಿಂತೆ ಆದರೆ, ಹಸಿವೆ ಆದರೆ, ಬಾಯಾರಿಕೆ ಆದರೆ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕೈ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೇರ ಅನುಭವದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಲ್ವಾ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಂಧನ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ, ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸೆ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಂತ ಅನುಭವಗಳು. ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಅದು ನೇರವಾದ ಅನುಭವ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇಸ್, ಸಿ ಬಂಧೋ ಮೋಕ್ಷಸ್ಯ ತೃಪ್ತಿಶ್ಚ ಚಿಂತಾರೋಗ್ಯಕ್ಷುದಾದಯಃ ಸ್ವೇನೈವ ವೇದ್ಯಾಯ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಪರೇಶಾಂ ಅನುಮಾನಿಕಂ. Look, my dear disciple, the bondage, liberation, moksha, satisfaction, anxiety or worries, health problems, hunger, thirst, these experiences are known by oneself. They all are personal experiences. The knowledge of these things by others, they can only infer indirectly, not directly, what you are facing. Others can indirectly infer. Paresham anumanikam svenaiva vedya yajnanam svenaiva vedya yat jnanam paresham anumanikam. When you understand directly your own self experiences, others cannot understand your experience directly. They can only infer like that. Why this example Acharya is given? Similarly, once you realize your true nature, that is your own direct experience inside. Atmanubhuti, Swayam Pramana. Aparokshanubhuti, Swayam Pramana. What you directly experience like a flash, what we call in our common English, the dawn of the jnana. Once you become realized, once you know your true nature, everything is cut off. That is your personal, direct experience by the grace of Guru, by the grace of God. This cannot be understood directly by others. Logic, Acharya. They can only infer. They can only deduce indirectly. But they cannot understand, because they have not experienced direct. So that is the point. So ultimately what Acharya is hinting, this is your personal direct experience, aparoksha anubhuti. Which one? Realization, enlightenment, salvation, or the flash of Atman, the flash of real identity, flash of true nature, really who I am. with Guru Sankalpa. I am stopping here at the shloka number 474. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwara.
Hari Om, sir. Dhanyavad, sir, as always.
Recording